Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I'm Mom, and welcome back to continuing adventures of my Delta recruit, Lieutenant Commander Damo Tuly. And I think Tuly feels a little bit like I do at the moment, kind of longing for a couple of days off. But we have work to do. Actually, I've got quite a lot of work to do. We're going to do Mine Enemy today, which is, remember last time we did one episode was strictly space battle. This one's strictly ground, I think. Pretty sure it's ground. Mostly ground. Lots of ground. Before we do anything else, though, let's go through all the stuff we have. There are a lot of accolades available with this mission. That said, I don't know if they're all still current. So let me run them off here really quickly. If you're an engineer, there's one called Drill Doctor. When you complete the engineering objective, there's one called Gang Violence Task Force, but that is for the tactical. There's one called Geological Surveyor, which is the science option. Allegedly, there's one called No Kill Eye for communicating with the Horda. Thing is, I don't remember there being a Horda in this episode, but I could be wrong. And the last one is Tal Shiar Statecraft. But for this one, you have to have a rank 4 in diplomacy duty officer category. That's not an option yet. I don't even think I've got duty officers, or if I do, they're brand new. I do have duty officers, but I sure don't have rank 4. Hey, speaking of, we haven't talked about duty officers, and probably a great spot. With duty officers, you've got a number of different schools. Diplomatic, science, engineering, military, exploration, espionage, medical, colonial, trade, development, and recruitment. And your goal is to hit level 4 in each of these. In order to do that, you can, let's do this the easy way here, click, and what should pop up will be one of these tabs up here. I'm going for duty officers, and it will tell you which ones are available. If you've got anything that's highlighted in red, you don't have the right materials, officers, or in this case, you don't have the right people. So a bartender, chef, entertainer, refugees, colonists, things like that. However, if you don't have anything in red, you can go ahead and click on them, and some of them will be a chain. Attend the I say Kaitian, I know it's Cation, but I say Kaitian diplomatic dinner. Once we do this one, which has a 6-hour cooldown, it will then, the next time we're able to do it, it'll come up with whatever the next level is. And I'm losing my voice. So click on it. If you want to change out your people, go ahead for it. It will usually just pull up some of the appropriate people. Maybe not the best, but honestly, it's good enough. And I tend to go through those till I run out of people. Once an officer is assigned to a project, then you can't reassign them. There's also personal ones. Confiscate contraband from the crew is one of the good ones, because you can translate that into dilithium. And then you can go through your officers. Your first officer will always give you the recommendations. And then there's operations, engineering, science. Don't think I've got any. Oh, I've got one. I'll take it. Medical. Tactical. I'm just grabbing them at random. Usually I'll go through and try and find some that are particularly good. Some do pay out into lithium, so you do want to hunt for those. The remaining ones that weren't listed there sometimes will come up under personal, but will also come up through other functions, such as if you're in space, if you go to the Badlands, if you go to the Solanae Dyson Sphere. There are some that come up there, and those will be in different categories as well. Don't think we need anything from the bank. Let's go ahead and look at what we've got for equipment, though, see if we want to switch out anything. We did pick up some new gear. Let's make sure everybody's got at least some gear, since we are going to do this one on the ground. Let's get Trill into something a little bit better here. Something a little more comfortable for our Trill. And last and not least, I'm going to also take some of this stuff and just put it in the bank here. So one thing I like to do is I like to send all my food and tribbles off to one particular account that I've got that does all my tribble mining. Why do I want tribbles? I don't. but there is a universal endeavor where you have to turn in 10 tribble carcasses. In order to do that, you have to have tribbles. Then you also have to have the tribble cannibals to eat the tribbles to make the tribble carcasses. A little grisly, but hey, that's it. We also got a new duty officer pack, so let's go ahead and open that up. And we got a few officers in there. An entertainer. Woohoo! And last and not least is I tend to stick all of my lock boxes in one place. So I've got 639 of the infinity boxes. While we're at it, let's see if we want to switch out any of our space gear. Wow, yes, we'll do that when we get into space since it looks like it's not loading again. So speaking of space, there's one thing I want to show you. And let's beam up into space. So, as I'm sure we've already talked about this, if you want to go in any direction, you're using your A, W, S, and D keys, or you can use your mouse by using both of the left and right. Click on the left and the right at the same time, and you can use that to steer your ship, by the way. I've noticed we're still in our shuttle. We'll get rid of that in a moment. But you can also, by the way, use your up, down, left, and right keys depending on how you want to do that. But one thing that we didn't talk a lot about is speed. And the speed options we've got are generally R is going to put you into full speed. Q is going to bring you to a stop. Excuse me. R again is going to bring you to a stop. My bad. R to speed up, R to slow down. If you want to go up incrementally, E will bring you up a quarter, half, 3/4, full speed. And Q will take you down by a quarter, half, 3/4, and all the way down. Well, that's great, but it's not particularly fine-tuned. Thank you very much. You can fine-tune this a little bit more, and this by changing your keybinds slightly. And I'm going to put these into the comments here so you'll see them. And they're pretty simple. To put in a change in the keybinds, you're going to type into your chat box, which I hope you can see that I'm typing down here. And what you're going to type is /bind E, quotation marks, throttle, _adjust, space, 0.1, close quotation. And then bind Q will be, /bind Q will be quotation, throttle, _adjust, minus 0.1, close quotation. I'm going to put that in here so you'll have a chance to see what it is. But you're just going to enter that into the chat dialog box. And as I said, we're still in the shuttle, which kind of isn't what we want to do. So let's get back to the Sol system. Well, when they put you into space, they really throw you out there a bit. And no, the solar system is not to scale. Okay, so we're in space up here. Let's stop. I'm going to move this, so don't worry, my picture's going to go away. It'll come back. So if you can see my chat box down here. Okay, hopefully you can see this a little bit better, and let's move it up here. So to do those throttle binds that I was just telling you about, you're going to type into the into your chat box, not necessarily strike group, but into mine certainly. So it's going to be /bind E, so it's going to be bound on letter E, quotation marks, throttle, _adjust, 0.1, close quotation marks. And we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to bind this one to Q, and it's going to be -0.1. Okay, so now when I go speeding through things, when I hit E, I'm only going to go up by 1/10. Lets me do a little bit more fine control on my speed. I have a tendency, because I always use this intense when I'm doing it on a new character and it's in quarters, I wind up going in reverse a lot. Yes, there is a reverse. And let me fix my chat box, because you guys don't want to see that all the time. There, now that's out of the way. I'm going to go down here to change ships, but I'll show you the other way to do it in just a moment. So on Manage Ships, you'll see all your available ships. We're currently here on the Damo 1. We want to go on to the Iroquois. So all you do is click on it. If it asks you if you want to switch ships, let's say we want the Azalea, we would just click on Ready Starship. We're going to stay here on the Iroquois. And let's see what we've got here. Do we have anything else we want to switch out while we're here? We're going to equip our Scorpion fighters from the last time we were out. Okay, it doesn't like me. We'll fix that in space. It's because they're still here. And let's go ahead and beam up. And we'll show you the other way to switch those out. There we go. So if you're on a ship, we're here on the Iroquois, and you want to switch starship, as long as your starship has already been set up, you can just click on Switch Starship, and it'll give you your two options. So I know it says we're going to switch it to the Iroquois, but you'll notice we're still on the Damo 1, the shuttle. So beam me out, beam me back, and we are back on the Iroquois. And let's just make sure that all of our toys are on here. They aren't. Probably because I got rid of some of them. Let's put that up front. Thank you very much. Deflector. Impulse. Warp. That's still there. That's still there. Blah, 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 blah. Everything's still there. Yes, we have some more work to do. Thank you. No, we will decline your kind invitation to join your fleet. I'm sure it's lovely. All right, so let's take on Mine Enemy. See if it's already loaded it. Okay, we accepted it the other day, so it's already in here. Once it's in the system, it's in progress. Click on it. If it's not your primary, you can click on Make Primary. If it's by default your primary, it will show up in here and it'll have gold or yellow for its highlight. Once you're there, transwarp time. Captain, the Raymans were targeting a magnesite mine in this area, but the list we recovered didn't have its exact coordinates. I know we're in the right area, but all of the moons in this system are inhabited, and our sensors are being affected by the magnesite. We'll need to contact each moon to try to determine which one the Raymans were actually targeting. Alright, so let's go ahead and hail this moon. And I'm not even going to try and say that one.
You've stuck your nose in our business for the last time, Starfleet. All ships, attack! Attack!
when you're in battle, you cannot go to full impulse. There is a speed limiting factor. There's a way around it a little bit. I'm just clicking on F to get through these. Let's go on to our next moon here. So I'm going to go to full impulse. But you do have an option if you want to get a little bit of a speed boost for a moment. Evasive maneuvers will give you 350% flight speed for 6 seconds.
This moon is private property. No solicitors, beggars, or Starfleet allowed.
Okie dokie. They're not very hospitable around here, are they? This is a dangerous area, and it's only gotten worse since the destruction of Romulus. It might be difficult to get someone to trust us.
Hello, my good friends. I'm so happy to meet you. Perhaps you are in the market for some high-quality magnesite? We have the finest ore in the quadrant. On behalf of the miners and residents here, I'm more than happy to welcome you to our home. Please, transport to the surface. Unfortunately, the large amount of extremely pure magnesite ore in the core of our little world will interfere with your sensors. For safety reasons, I must insist that you use the transporter signal enhancers that I have installed at my own expense. Also, I know you Starfleet types are so fond of your away teams, but could you please restrict the number of crew you bring down to the surface? My people here aren't used to strangers, and you wouldn't want to disrupt their work, would you?
We're ready to beam down on your command, Captain. So, you do have the option of picking any one of your officers to join you. I guess I've got Elisa, Kalez, Tibral, and Zarva. I'm actually going to go with Zarva. I've got some nice ones. Shield recharge, weapons malfunction, turret fabrication, and a medical generator. In a pinch, those are not bad attributes to have at your back. Let's just make sure everything loaded out. I'm going to change out some of this equipment real quick here. Oops. There we go. We gave her a little bit better equipment. All right, we need to find Madran.
On behalf of everyone on this forsaken rock, let me be the first to welcome you to Hathara. As you can see, we don't have time for pleasantries, and I'm not sharing my Tranya stash with you. So, why don't we skip the chit-chat and get down to business?
Of course. I've heard you're an excellent source of magnesite. What makes your mine better than the others in the sector?
Unfortunately, I cannot call this mine my own. I'm just a middleman. Out of the goodness of my heart, I help the residents here pass on the products of their hard work to commercial entities such as yourself. The minuscule transaction fee and trade tariff I keep to offset my expenses is figured into the unit cost of the ore. My operation has become one of the best in the area because of the high demand for my services from both sides. I provide the best mining equipment and supplies in the sector to the miners, while my customers get competitive pricing on the ore they need.
Do you have any more information about the mines themselves?
I don't pay much attention to that. Miners have empty carts and they return with ones filled with ore. If you're that interested, you could visit the mines themselves, but I don't recommend it. It's such a dirty, disagreeable business. And I'm convinced that breathing ore dust for too long is terrible for you. The miners who live near my quarters used to keep me up night after night with their dreadful coughing. I had to install soundproofing just to get some sleep. Are you sure you wouldn't rather look at the ore I have for sale?
Thanks, but I'd like to talk to the miners first.
Really? Suit yourself. Just remember, I have an exclusive contract to export magnesite ore from this moon. If you try to cut me out of your deals, you'll regret it.
I just have a few questions before we conduct any business. I'll be back when I'm done. Madran won't answer any questions about why the Remans might be targeting this place for fear of scaring us away from a possible sale. Perhaps if we ask some of the locals about what's going on here, they'll be able to provide more information.
I'm sorry, I really can't talk at the moment. I have to finish a survey of the area so the miners can start work on a new mine shaft.
Is there anything I can do to help?
As much as I'd appreciate someone else to lug around this heavy equipment, it's all very delicate, and I'd only trust a capable scientist to help me.
If I encounter someone who can help, I'll send them your way.
I can't talk to you. I can't talk to anyone. I'm on the run. And if those thugs see me talking to you, then you'll be in danger too.
Is there anything I can do to help?
I need someone who's not afraid of a fight. There's a group here that's beating and stealing from us. Madran doesn't do anything to stop it. For all I know, he's getting a cut of everything they take. They're making life miserable for all of us. Would you be willing to help?
Count me in.
There's a group of bullies that have been stealing from us. If we don't give them what they want, they beat us. I had a friend. All he was trying to do here was feed his family. Be a good man. He had an old bottle of ale. He said it was from the homeworld. One of those thugs wanted it. Now, my friend is dead. I'm too weak to stop them, I know that. And now I have my friend's children to feed in addition to my own. But if someone were to teach them a lesson, this camp would be a better place for all of us.
Alright, we need to find 3 gangs. Please, have you seen my brother?
There's a group of bullies that have been stealing from us. If we don't give them what they want...
Oops, that's the same person. Jolan True, stranger. Here we go.
Enemy targets on set. Flanking damage detected. Shield losing power.
Don't think we can go this way, but let's look. Ooh. We can.
Enemy targets on sensor. Personal shield losing power.
Thank you. Those guys have been giving everyone a lot of trouble. These thugs are part of a larger group that operates deep inside the magnesite mine. They control the lower levels, and no one who goes down there uninvited ever comes back. I don't know what's so important down there that's worth hurting us to protect it. Maybe if you went down there, you could get some answers.
All right, there's our gang violence task force accolade. Let's go find Madran.
You want to go in the mine? Are you really interested in buying any magnesite? Or are you just here to cause trouble? Because if it's the latter, I know someplace you can start a little ruckus. There's a gang that controls the bottom levels of the mine. They won't even let me in there. Previously, I allowed them to keep their little kingdom in exchange for information. But lately, they've been more trouble than they're worth. And the intel they're feeding me is useless. Honestly, who doesn't know about the green invasion of the fairy space?
I'll take that information to heart. Right, let's go down into the mine.
What do you want? This area is restricted. Only people my friends and I like may enter. And I don't like you!
Maybe if you got to know me a little better, you'd learn to like me.
You don't belong here. I'm done talking. Leave now! Or suffer the consequences.
It's been a pleasure wasting my time with you. As I said, if you have level 4 diplomacy, there is an accolade for talking your way out of it.
Personal shield losing power.
Captain, there are a series of pressure plates located in this area. They're low-tech, but the Romulans may have had to resort to outdated security measures because of the interference from the magnesite veins in this cavern. The problem is that the magnesite is making our tricorders almost useless. If there's anything on this moon, that the Remans would want to eliminate badly enough to use Thalaron weapons, it has to be here. We're going to have to figure out how to use the pressure plates to reveal whatever the Romulans are trying to hide. I suspect that we need to activate 2 of them to open the door. Alright, so the 2 pressure plates are highlighted in pink. You need to stand on one of them. That's easy enough to do. You need to get your other person to stand on the other one. And that's when we're going to come up here. I know you guys can't see it, but can you see up in the upper left-hand corner? There is a V, the 4th marker over above your officer. There's like a double V. It's going to set the rally point. So what you're going to do is click on that. It's going to make this little V thing here, and you have to kind of guess where that's going to go. It illuminates the area, but it's not always 100% accurate. Your officer will go there. Alright, that worked out really nicely. We're going to go here. We're going to lock in our coordinates. And open the hidden door. Let's move over to it. Ah, now we get to do that. Well hidden door.
I give you orders here, Commander. You are out of line.
With all due respect, sir, there is a difference between protecting the Empire from her enemies and provoking
There
her.
is much here you do not understand, Jack. The Remans need to know their place. As do you. I will not forget your insubordination, Commander. The Tal Shiar has no place for officers who cannot follow orders. I'll be in the command center.
Colonel, they were civilians! Their blood is on our hands!
Get used to it. There will be more. Speaking of which, why don't you clean out the brig before you become a resident there?
Shield losing power.
Okay, Zarva's disappeared. She is 67 meters behind me. So we need to... She's probably still on her rally point. So we're going to regroup our bridge officers. And she will come up to us. Do remember to do what I didn't do and unset those rally points. We're reading a report here. Observed from the holofeeds on Kronos. Chancellor Jimpak facing increasing challenges from members of the High Council loyal to House of Martok. Alliance between the House of Jimpak and House of Duras is weak. Situation is highly exploitable. Recommend we seek agents on Kronos. Many members of discommendated House of Torg have been absorbed in the House of Duras. KDF leadership is angered by High Council's mandate to work more closely with Klingon intelligence. Vikiri forces in the region massing under new leadership. Milani Dion has seen entering home of Drex, son of Martok. Gorn pushed for representative on High Council rejected. Reading the logs on Starfleet activity. Observed from a captured holofeed in Earth space dock. Captain Sulu has applied for transfer to the front lines of Klingon conflict. Admiral Quinn, under medical care for heart condition, intercepted Starfleet medical records indicated that the condition is fully treatable and not suitable target for exploitation. 7th Fleet entered neutral zone as part of routine series of exercises. Franklin Drake heading extended operation in Eta Eridani. Starfleet Command considering new tactics in conflict with True Way. Starfleet intelligence concerned with rise in war profiteering by independent Ferengi and Doptarians. Read logs on True Way activity. Observed from holofeed on Cardassia Prime. Detapa Console petitions Federation to fund Licarian City infrastructure projects. 47 injured in bombing at University of Kulat. True Way claims responsibility for the attack. Detapa Council passes bill allowing Cardassian government to seize assets of persons convicted of terrorist activity. Councillor Maram Okanda resigns. Starfleet sending advisors to Cardassia Prime to advise government on security issues. Councillor Ivala introduces resolution calling for Cardassia to apply for Federation membership. Bill stalls in committee. Ministry of Trade extends agreements with Ferengi to market Cardassian-made transport vessels and phaser banks. Read logs on Borg activity. Observed from captured holo recordings in Delta Quadrant. Resistance is futile. Read logs on listening post Hephaestus activity. Observed from holofeed in listening post Hephaestus. Janek is fighting with Hakiv again. Hakiv takes shuttle and leaves base for 2 days. Long-range sensors mark his progress in neutral zone. 6 miners held for questioning. Chief Medical Officer reports 2 cases of Levodian flu. 6 encrypted messages sent from Colonel Hakiv's console to unknown recipient. Recommend that transmissions be investigated further. Read logs on Romulan Empire activity. Observed from holofeed on Radar 3. Increased power use in Royal Palace indicates lower levels may be in use. Senator Shamek is accepting bribes in exchange for slowing progress on trade agreements. Erosion representatives meet with Sila. Riemann representative removed from Senate chamber. Opposition leader Titan assassinated. 3 reunification proponents arrested. Agents for Sila meet with True Way leaders near Badlands. Read logs on Tau Dewa activity. Observed from live intelligence in Republic space. Archaeological activity indicates that a recent excavation has revealed an unexpected high-value find. Attempts to capture colonists of putative Mol Rihan meeting with resistance from mixed forces. Federation Starbase 234 engaging in defensive training exercises. Long-range social destabilization of Akamarian culture underway. Tholian activity correlated with temporal anomalies near Azure Nebula. Cloaked assets monitoring construction of listening posts in Jarrett system. However, our job is to find Commander's access codes.
I almost feel sorry for you, but I have my own neck to worry about. I'll be joining you in there soon enough. If Hakeev has his way, we all will.
Okay, we're going to open up the prison cells. Northeast prison cells. Northwest prison cells. Southeast prison cells. And Southwest prison cells. So we have some captured miners joining us. There's Commander Janek.
Enough! I surrender. I value my life more than the Tal Shiar's secrets. I'll tell you anything you want to know. But first, you must tell me why you are here and what you want.
Why does this Riemann resistance want to destroy this base?
The Riemans know about this base? Impossible! Only the leadership of the Tal Shiar know we're here. The Empress herself couldn't find us. I don't believe you, but it makes no difference. This is not a military installation. We listen and record here. Nothing more. There are many targets that those Riemann scum would find much more tempting.
Enough of those lies.
Are you sure you want to end things like this?
Yes.
Shield losing power.
Unlocking the door.
Enemy target on sensor. Shield losing power.
How did you find this place? What else do you need? No matter. You won't be revealing anything to your superiors. It's disappointing I cannot give you a proper interrogation. But I have much to do and little time. The self-destruct sequence has begun. This base will be your tomb.
The reactor is going critical. We need to get out of here, but not before we find out what is so important to Hakeev that he'll destroy this place to protect it. Come on, Sarva. to Madran.
My mind! What have you done to my mind?
There's an infestation of the Tal Shiar spies in there. I just fumigated.
Tal Shiar? I'm shocked. I had no idea. I certainly wouldn't have sent you down there if you... Hey, you didn't happen to find anything valuable down there, did you? Because if you did, remember, I have an exclusive contract.
Stop with the lies, Madran. I know you know who or what was down there.
And what's it to you? This is a rough area of the Quadrant, you know, and they're good neighbors. If you're not easily embarrassed, their cameras and listening devices are everywhere. I haven't had a single problem with Orions or Herodians since they moved in. And it doesn't hurt that I acquired the odd bit of information here and there. I'm a businessman, and information is big business.
Do you know anything about what they recently discovered?
Unfortunately, no. I'll admit, I was trying to find out, but their systems were locked down tight. I'm sure whatever it was had to be big news. Everyone was on edge. Janek and Hakeev were barely speaking, and I once heard Hakeev mumbling something about orders. Someone's been pulling his strings, but I don't know who. I do know that Tal Shiar takes security very seriously. If you manage to pull any files from their system, you can expect them to be heavily encoded. Trust me on that. I speak from experience. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go talk 100 Romulans into digging a new mine to replace the one you destroyed. My profit margin for this month is ruined.
Treat those miners well, Madran, or I'll be back. Madran doesn't seem to know much, Captain, or at least he's not willing to part with what information he knows without being paid. I don't think he can help us anymore. We should return to the ship and try our luck at decrypting the files we receive from the Tal Shiar. I'm sure that they will be more useful than anything Madran has to say. The instruction is go to your ready room or conference room and decrypt the Tal Shiar files. Okay, so to go to your ship, in your mini-map, upper right-hand corner, I know you can't see my cursor, but if you look up here, mini-map, the lower right-hand corner, there's a little down arrow. Right there you'll see Visit Starship Bridge. And it'll ask if you want to go to your Starship Bridge. And here's my ready room. Ready rooms have different things in them. Library files, duty officers. You have a place to put your trophies. We haven't gotten there yet. We'll get there. And access your account bank. So if you ever need to put stuff in the account bank, not your personal bank, but the account bank, you can go there. And if you're having a really rough day, you can have a lie down on the couch, chill for a little bit. If you'll notice the chair icon right now, when you get to a chair where you can sit down, it'll give you that little chair icon. And then you can sit there. It likes us to sit on the couch. All right, we need to decrypt these files. So please input inquiry. Decipher Tal Shiar files Fihar. Okay, this one's a little interesting, and it's one of the few times we see these puzzles. They do go back to the older missions. So we're given several things in here. Emperor Kalis has been spotted in the Breen space. Chancellor Jimpak is a potential adversary in Jarad. The House of Torg was brought before the High Council for commendation by the House of Martok. And the Forcas 3 Batleth tournament has a new champion. So analyze the file structure. We're going to cross-reference with Starfleet records. And anything that doesn't agree is going to highlight in red. We're going to change the faulty information. So, let's see what we want to do. Do we want to change House of Martok to House of Antask? Do we want to change High Council to Klingon Defense Force, or Commendation to Treason? Let's start with Commendation to Treason. I like that one because that really sounds right for House of Torg. We're going to open the file Reciprocity. Analyze file structure. Apply a passkey, and what it does is it pulls the words out that correspond to the previous file that we opened. We're going to repeat this now for file Plethora. Analyze it. Cross-reference. Vulcan Ambassador Sokoth retires to the monastery on Jimpak. Or, sorry, on Pichan, my bad. And we know that to be was exposed at, because we were just there. Now we're going to add that to our reciprocity file. We're going to open file Precedence. Analyze the structure. Now we have to figure out what the faulty information is. There's not a lot of ways to know this other than trial and error. So, didn't like that one. If you make a wrong mistake, it'll be yellow. And just revert the changes. There we go. Adding that to reciprocity. Let's go back. Open referendum. Cross-reference. And the one that's incorrect is Ambassador Jirok visits Andoria. Well, where does he visit? Vulcan, Kronos, or Wolf 359? Again, you can guess. I'm going with Vulcan. Open reciprocity. Apply the passkey. Now it's decoded the whole thing. And it says, a secret Riemann base detected in Dira system. Listening Post Hephaestus has detected an increase in subspace communication and ship traveling to and from the Dira system. Analysis of the communication and ship traffic reveals patterns of obfuscation normally employed by Riemann forces. Tal Shiar forces then intercepted a ship leaving the Dira system and captured 47 Riemann civilians. The passengers and crew were summarily executed under orders of Colonel Hakiv, but the captain and first officer were preserved for questioning. Under interrogation, the captain of the Riemann vessel provided a security key that could be used to decipher encrypted communications sent to the Dira system. The decrypted messages prove that there's a base in this area of space being used by the Riemann resistance. Recommendation: Tal Shiar ships should be sent to the Dira system immediately to capture this base and its inhabitants. The Tal Shiar is planning an attack on a Riemann base. We need to get this information to Admiral Tanay at Starbase 39 Sierra immediately. So now we need to go back there.
The Tal Shiar records you recovered show that Hakiv and his forces have been targeting the Riemanns for months. Obasek and his followers have been driven from their homes, had their ships destroyed, and their loved ones killed or imprisoned. Some might say that Obasek's campaign against the Tal Shiar is just. However, Obasek was planning on using Thalaron weapons in the Bahar system, which would have killed hundreds of innocent civilians, as well as the Tal Shiar cell there. This is the problem with revenge. Violence and fury only create more pain and suffering.
Do we want any of these? Let's grab the phaser turret. If you really don't want any of them, I would suggest you look at their value. Value's in the lower right-hand corner. And grab something that's got a relatively high value so you can...
Congratulations, Commander.
So you can unlock a lot of things, like money. You can exchange high-value things at the bartender, at various vendors, and get something out of it. So before we go on, what are we doing to help those Romulan civilians, like those miners?
Since the destruction of Romulus, the Federation has done all it can for the survivors and the Romulan colony worlds. Many of our aid shipments were stolen or diverted for use by the Romulan military. Others were rejected out of pride or suspicion. Nonetheless, we will not stop. It is my belief that a lasting peace with the Romulans is possible, but it will not be attained through treaties. Only by reaching out to individuals as you did in the Vahar system, can we sweep away decades of mistrust and hostility.
I have new missions for you.
We're going to go ahead and
We know
accept
from the
Frozen.
information you recovered from the Vahar system that the Tal Shiar are planning to attack a Riemann settlement in the Dara system. We have an opportunity to reach the settlement first. This may be a completely internal matter, and if so, the Prime Directive will come into play. We will not be able to interfere, but if there is an outside influence directing these matters, we must know what it is. Our encounters with the Undine and the Changelings have proven that there are entities attempting to move the powers of the Quadrant like pieces in a Cal-Toe game. It is essential to protecting the Federation to see these attempts for what they are and counter them. I want you to go to the Dara system and learn more about the Riemann Uprising. The Riemans will have hidden their base, so you may have to use subterfuge to find it. One more thing. I realize this is a dangerous situation and that you may be drawn into conflict, but do not antagonize the Riemans or the Romulans if you can avoid doing so. We are already at war with the Klingon Empire. I would prefer to avoid another extended conflict.
I have new missions for you.
All right, and that wraps up this episode. I will give the highlights of how to do the throttle adjustments for anybody who's interested. If it's not already in there, hopefully I'll put it in there. And we will get back together next time to deal with the episode Frozen. So everyone have a great morning, noon, afternoon, night, whatever you've got there, and we'll see you next time. Take care.